if I use the whisk, you can see it coming off of the whisk. I can even use a spoon maybe. I'm not a professional cook. I'm hoping that I don't make too big of a splash. You can see the chili dripping over the edge there. Hello everyone, my name is Adonis Trujillo. I'm from Taos Pueblo. I work with the Microsoft Data Center Community Development Team, and today we'll be making red chili from Taos Pueblo. Chili is especially important for us folks down here in the US Southwest. It's a staple in many of our homes, and especially when it comes time for our traditional feast days. We have kind of a running saying here in northern New Mexico that the angrier the person, the hotter the chili. And so there's going to be several iterations and several kinds of recipes that different families have. The more variations of chili, the better. So today I'm hoping that our chili comes out nice and mild and that I'm able to share it with our friends and family. So today we're making a red chili. So we'll start with dicing our pork meat. I remember the first year that I wasn't able to come home for our traditional feast day. I felt so homesick. The taste of chili, the smell of chili, the preparation for making chili, it all reminds me of growing up and seeing my grandparents make it in the kitchen, my grandma in particular. And we had dozens and dozens of strangers coming to our house every feast day. I don't know if there's any chili that's ever gonna live up to the way that my grandma used to make it. So we've diced up our meat. What we're gonna do now is place our meat in a boiling pot, and we'll have that meat boiling for about an hour. You're gonna wanna fill up your pot about 3/4 of the way because of the length of time that you'll be boiling for and because of the texture that you want the meat to take on. So we have our meat diced up, we have it in our pot, we filled it up with water. So what we're gonna do next is let our pork meat boil for about an hour until we get just the perfect texture. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make our chili paste so that we can add it into the pork meat that's been boiling. So we're gonna start out with a cup of the ground chili powder, and then I'm gonna add some flour. I have a cup poured here, but we're only gonna use just over half a cup, and I'm gonna play it by ear as I see it, so I'm gonna add in a little bit. So this is kind of the gray color that I look for. It's almost like an ash color. Here's the finished product of our mixture of chili powder and flour. We'll add a few cups of water. I'm gonna use the same measuring cup because we wanna get as many of those ground up chili powder fines as we can in there. Our feast day, because it happens at the end of September, it really signifies and celebrates the harvest. Taos Pueblo has been known as this trade hub of the Southwest. Our feast day is reflective of the coming together of all these different cultures, all these different peoples from different areas here in the US. Every house at the Pueblo will have its doors open, and visitors will come into these different houses. They'll sit down at these long tables and they'll share a meal, and then they'll go on to the next house and try another family's chili. It's something that you do all day, and it's something that we've done for time immemorial. And everyone has different ways of celebrating and bringing chili into their home. I've been mixing this for some time, and it looks like we have just the right texture we're looking for. Maybe I'll add a little bit more. You can see that it's a nice paste. Not too thick, not too runny, so we can see how slow it's coming down. That's exactly what we're looking for when we're making our paste. So this is what we call oven bread. This is also something that you find across Pueblos. It takes a lot of effort to make an oven bread, and so I won't walk us through the whole process. Plus, there's a lot of family secrets out there. Today we'll just focus on the importance of oven bread after it's already been made and how it's a must. You cannot have chili without your oven bread, and so I'm gonna cut this down into the perfect serving size for chili. We cut the bread in half, we turn them on their side like this, and you section it off just like this. And so you have these nice bite-sized pieces of bread that are perfect for dipping into your chili stew. Okay, so we've been letting our pork meat boil for just under an hour at this point. I cook the meat at about medium-high temperature, but I can start to see that my meat is just about ready. When you boil it for this amount of time, the meat just starts to fall off on its own, and that's exactly where you want it to be because the softer the meat, the more it's gonna absorb our chili. About 3 teaspoons of garlic, and we'll just make sure that that cooks into the meat as well. We're gonna stir that and let that soak into the mix for another 5 minutes or so. Our meat looks ready, our broth looks ready, and so all that's left to do now is to add our chili sauce. No chili gone to waste. All the ingredients, we're gonna let that cook into itself for about 15 minutes. Beyond, sharing a meal, if we think about the gesture and the sentiment behind a feast day, that gesture, it's a beautiful thing that serves as an opportunity for us to share cultures collectively. At Microsoft, I work with the Data Center Community Development Team. It is our team's role to ensure that we're building and maintaining relationships with the communities that host our data centers across the world. I was always drawn to what my impact would be in the community. I was always trying to think about where I would leave my mark, how I would impact the next generations. I was part of a consulting program, and Microsoft happened to be the client that we were working with. I met a person, and he was particularly interested in my passions to give back to the Southwest. So I was really drawn to this particular team that I'm on because of the opportunity to have conversations with different leaders across the community that I might not even get a chance to meet with as an individual. But I am living up to those aspirations I had of having a long-term sustained impact and being able to do that relatively quickly with Microsoft's resources. If anything is going to burn, it'll be the chili, and you don't want that to burn to the bottom of the pot. And so that's why I've been stirring this continuously. The chili's starting to cook into the meat. We're making sure that there's no thick chili clumps. I've turned down the heat a little bit, and now it's simmering. But we're pretty close to having this being served ready. We know that it's done. We're looking at the color of the sauce, the consistency of the liquid. We're looking at the meat as well, as I mentioned. Nice and hot, ready to pour. I'm hoping that I don't make too big of a splash so that it looks a little orderly. So I'll do 2 spoonfuls. And this is what I mean by splash. You can see the chili dripping over the edge there. And so each of the bowls has the drip marks on it. But we're ready to sit down and eat. We have our bread. We have our bowls of chili. We have our bowls laid out, and we have our judges. We have my sister Aurora. She knows the family recipe well, and so she'll let us know how close we are. My wife Mona, and my son Quaylam. So we're gonna go ahead and see how it turned out.
It's good.
Not bad?
It's really good.
We put our oven bread in just like that. Soaks up the chili. And take our bite. It's just right. It's got the right heat. I love the way the meat came out. This was only one of my first times making the chili, and so I'm gonna give myself a B- for trying.
B.
It's a B. We really appreciated you watching, and we'd love to share our home and share our food and our culture with you. So we'll see you next time.
Say bye. Bye. Say bye.